T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Coach on Fire Radio.
I am the tiger, dancing through the fire. I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar.
Hey everyone, it's Wendy Anderson here with Redefining Normal radio show. I am super excited for today's show, and I have an amazing guest on today that I'll introduce to you here in just a little bit. But first, one of the things I wanted to talk about just briefly, and that also Kinesha, my guest, and I are going to talk about, is the whole concept of connection and how it really applies to a parent of a special needs child. Because there are so many times after your child will be diagnosed with anything, really, and that you feel like you're all alone and that you're out there by yourself, and you just don't know what to do. And so it's really hard because you feel like you're out there by yourself, but there's somebody else who's also going through it. And so when I think about connection and I think about a parent of a child with special needs, the word courage comes up to me because it does take a lot of courage. It's very easy for us to kind of stay in our own little worlds, to stay at home, to stay in your doctor's appointments, your therapy appointments, to not really talk to anybody or tell anybody what's going on. And it doesn't necessarily benefit any of us because, as we talked about and we know, it is hard enough to be a parent as well as a parent of a special needs child. And it really does take a village to help us to raise our child and bring them up, and for us as parents to be able to talk to somebody. So the word courage came up in my mind when I was thinking about Kinesha, because I believe the first time I met her, I believe I got a text or a Facebook message or something that was like, hey, I was talking to somebody else and they recommended that I get in contact with you, and I'd like to connect with you, and I'm working on meeting other moms, I want to run this idea by you. And I was like, hey, yeah, I'm going to hop on the phone with her, because it takes a lot of courage to reach out to another person, where it's very easy for us to stay in our own little world. And I'm like, man, this girl's got some courage to be reaching out to me, someone she doesn't know. So we hopped on the phone and we had a great chat. And so welcome, Kinesha. I am super excited that you are here with me today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to be on the show with you, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, this is so much fun. We just did have the opportunity to meet in person this weekend. So that was a lot of fun too. Both Kinesha and I think we can announce it, are going to have monthly blogs on the Omaha Moms blog. So that's another super exciting thing. And
Yes.
yeah, and so we had a big gathering of all of us, so we got to meet each other. But Kinesha and I could probably talk for hours, but we'll spare everybody, and we won't. But I just want to talk a little bit about. We'll talk a lot of things, but I want to talk about what you had to tell yourself in your mind to start reaching out to other moms. Because we talked a little bit about this weekend how you can tend to be a little bit introverted also. And so, what kind of the thought process or that you had to go through to start reaching out to other moms?
Definitely. So I am indeed an introvert. I am so nervous when it comes to meeting new people. But I know for me, I don't want to always be alone in this fight, so to speak. I need other people that can rally with me and say, we have your back, we're holding your arms up, we love you, we care for you. And so that was really the reason why I decided to start Our Gathering Place. being on some of the autism mom groups and chats and things like that, I often see that moms will say, "I'm all alone. I have no one." Some are married, some are single parents. They'll say, "I'm all alone. I'm so stressed. Dealing with depression. I'm dealing with anxiety. All these things," and so thinking about that, it's already been in my heart for many, many years to some way, somehow serve the community. Initially, about probably like 10 or 11 years ago, I had this thought to have a community based like soup kitchen called uh, Meat for Masses, where I just wanted to serve people in the community, especially those who maybe were less fortunate. I just wanted to serve those people and bless them with a meal, give them a nice, warm environment to come to. So fast forward to when I find out that my two of my children actually have special needs. One has autism, one has a developmental delay or disability. After getting over the initial shock,
Yeah.
hello, my kids have special needs.
Yeah.
My world is not going to be the same as it used to be. After I got over that shock and started getting them the help that they needed, I was like, okay, it's not just about me. I've got to do something to help someone else. So that's when I started to kind of get more involved in the autism groups, going to different activities. And then I was like, hello, I have a degree in culinary arts. Why don't I just try to feed some families and bring that sense of community and bring that sense of connection so that people can just have a place to go, even if it's just once a month, where their children can be their authentic selves. They can come, they can eat, they can meet other parents, meet other moms, meet other dads, maybe even form a play date between their children. Because a lot of times when you have children with disabilities or with special needs, they're not getting invited to the play dates. They're not often getting invited to the birthday parties. That's just not realistic. Sometimes, yes, but not all the time.
Yeah.
So why don't we form some play dates? Why don't we invite each other to each other's house, to the park, to the zoo, whatever. So that was really my goal. Was it's not just about me, but it's about others, and how can I reach out to them with my introverted self and make a difference? And so that's where Our Gathering Place Omaha came to be about.
Oh my goodness. I just love every ounce of this. I love everything. And I know like from that first conversation that we had on the phone call, I was just in love with you.
Wow.
And
Oh, thank you.
yeah, I think, and I think the key here, like some of what you're talking about is after the initial shock. So,
Yeah.
we do go through some initial shock, and you reaching out and getting involved. And, when
Yes.
I talk to parents or grandparents or aunts and uncles, I think that's one of the biggest things I hear is, they're just not going out and meeting people.
Yeah.
They're staying at home and they're hiding. And, it makes me really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it is exciting. So I know that we have an amazing autism society and groups, different groups and mommies groups in Omaha
Yes.
that provide some amazing gatherings for us.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
and then, looking what you're doing is awesome. So basically, our gathering place, as you said, is going to be a place where families can come and have a meal together
Yes.
because it's really fundamental and foundational, as you know,
Hmm.
um, but super hard to necessarily always do that in a restaurant.
Absolutely. I recently pitched this idea to a super cool community crowdfunding dinner called Omaha Soup, and the way that I started out the speech was, um, oftentimes you can take your family to a typical family, if you will, to a restaurant. You park the car, you get out, you go in, you wait, to get seated, you order your food, you have some small talk, you chat with the waitress or waiter, you get your food, you pay the bill, and you leave. You don't even
Yeah.
think about it because it's just a common thing. But
Yeah.
when you have a child or children with special needs, there's a little planning involved. For instance, my son has autism, so one thing that he does sometimes if we're going into new environments is he automatically covers his ears.
Yes.
So we can walk into a restaurant, and he might be making some noises because he's primarily nonverbal, even though he's saying more words and now some small sentences.
Yeah.
But he will walk in, ears covered, saying, making some noises. So when we get in and we might be waiting, 30 seconds, a minute for them to seat us, he's kind of checking it out, might, let out a screech or two, and that automatically is going to draw attention. And then once we're seated, he may get up and jump because sometimes they do a sequence of jumps. So he might get up, he might jump, but he still might have his ears covered. Well, people are going to look. We've had so many looks at restaurants, like literally people staring, and we're like, okay. It's so uncomfortable. It makes you so uneasy because all you're trying to do is go and have a meal with your family. Now, I'm a caterer. I do not cook every day. So sometimes we got to go somewhere.
Right. No, I don't
We
blame
gotta
you
go.
there.
And we've kind of narrowed it down to a couple of restaurants, which where Jeremiah truly, truly loves to go. He loves Pizza Ranch. He loves Chick-fil-A. So those are honestly like our main go-tos if
Yeah.
we're doing a family outing, which we're fine with.
Yeah.
But it's just the process of, all right, what's the game plan if Jeremiah, there's something that he just can't handle, the lighting, the music, whatever the case is, he's getting better. But there have been times where we have literally walked into a restaurant and he's had a full meltdown and we had to get up and go. Like,
Walk out.
it's just difficult. And I've dealt with times where my husband has been deployed. Um, and so, the last time he was deployed, I was pregnant with our fourth daughter. And I remember one Sunday, after church, we just wanted to go to Ruby Tuesdays. I wanted some salad or whatever. And we walked in there and he was not having it.
Yeah.
And people were staring. And thankfully we were with like my mom and my sisters and my dad. So I just took them and got in the car. They brought my food home after the fact. But it's a process. And so I get that completely, that it's just not a walk in the park for some special needs families just to go to a restaurant. Like, it's just not that easy. So I just want to have an environment where families can come and not feel judged because we have a common bond. Like, we get it.
Yes.
Even if our child does not have all the same special needs, autism, Down syndrome, whatever the case is,
Yeah.
there's this common bond that, hey, I got you. We're all good. I'm not going to look at your child crazy. I'm not going to look at you crazy. I understand. Let's just be together. Let's connect. Let's smile. Let's be positive. Let's affirm each other, and let's eat some food.
Yeah. No, I love it. I always like to say I don't walk in your shoes, but my shoes look very similar to your shoes.
That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, and I just, yeah, again, I could just like keep, I love this. I love this. But I think the thing too to really point out that what you're saying is that you're trying, you're
Yes.
doing different like you are taking your family out and doing a lot of exposure, to
Yeah.
different things, and that you're okay with, you get into a restaurant, it's not going to work. You're okay with leaving.
Yes. Oh,
Because
yeah.
right now it's just not where you can be.
Yeah. It's a process. That's for sure. It's a process. Nothing is going to happen overnight. We recently went to a restaurant. I think my husband was working. I had my 4 children, and I went with 2 of my sisters and my brother-in-law. And Jeremiah, he got up like twice and jumped, and he sat down and he ate, and no screaming. And we were like, whoa. Did you guys just feel that? Did you guys see that? This is awesome. We're making progress. So, like,
Yeah.
the other thing I really want to say is, like, celebrate the small victories. Like, for us, he got up, he jumped, whatever. That's fine. That's his authentic self. But the fact that we're making so much progress to the point that he can sit there now through a meal for the most part, That's a big victory to us. We even had a doctor's appointment recently. I posted on my Facebook page that